to our weekly Christ in Our Neighborhood conversation where Joyce and I talk about Sunday's Gospel with Bishop John. Everything you need to do this with family and friends is on our Diocese of Phoenix website in the Christ in Our Neighborhood section at dphx.org. With that said, welcome back, Bishop.
Great to see the two of you. You know, I just love Advent. It's just so beautiful. It just brings us a certain sense of joy with hope. So I'm looking forward to these readings.
It's a beautiful season, and this week we're going to hear from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 21, verses 25 to 28 and 34 to 36. So, Bishop, would you like to start us off with reading the reflection?
It seems as though we closed the previous liturgical year last week with an apocalyptic warning. Why are we beginning our year with some of the same doom and gloom language? Of course, while the year is new, nothing really has changed for Christians who wait for Christ's return. We close one year and open a new year with the same message. And the message is loud and clear. Be prepared.
The world that we know is passing away, and one day it will be gone. And while people will be afraid and even die of fright, we should be prepared for the glory of the coming of the Lord.
St. Luke encourages us to stand erect when we see the signs of the day of the Lord and raise our heads because our redemption is at hand. Luke also gives us a warning to be vigilant and prepared for the coming, so the Lord does not catch us caught up in the everyday anxieties of life.
All right, and so Bishop, our question this week, in what way do you remain vigilant for the coming of the Lord?
Well, it's a very good question. It keeps me going back to my Boy Scout days where we were called to be prepared, and that was the Boy Scout marching song. The idea of being prepared is a very important thing in general, but especially as we focus on the coming of our Lord. And I really like the idea that being prepared is more than just making sure that we avoid hell and get to heaven, but really being prepared is, am I prepared to stand before the judgment seat of Christ with a sense that I have followed him, I have loved him, I've given my all to him? If I haven't, I should at the very least, just be ashamed.
Good words there. I think it's a given that, as Catholics, we would want to go to confession regularly. That kind of goes without saying. But to me, when I think of being vigilant for the Lord, I think of being rooted in the gospel. And so for me, spending about, 10 minutes in the morning on being rooted in the gospel of the day and really pondering, what is God trying to tell me through this and how do I want to respond to that? The other thing I think of being vigilant is that the second coming, it could be any time, right? But we all know that our own time to meet Jesus and time to stand before the throne, it could be any day. So we need to be ready. And I think one way we can do that is to look within the people in our family and our friends and our acquaintances. Who is it that maybe we're not on good terms with? Who are we estranged from? Who have we not forgiven? And to try, insofar as possible, to be at peace with everyone, to make amends. Advent is a great time to really let go and seek forgiveness. And I think of this particularly, I lost a sister on December 23rd, 2006, really suddenly and tragically. It was very unexpected. And I thank God she had been estranged from the family for a couple of years, and we were reconciled with her 2 weeks before she died. And I give thanks for that. So I just encourage, we weren't expecting that, encourage all of us to be reconciled as much as we can be with each other.
Wow. Those are good, both of you. Such good words. So for me, it's just this commitment. It's a commitment to prayer. It's a commitment to confession. And so sometimes I don't feel like praying, but because I have a habit of beginning each day in prayer and with the daily readings, like you said, Joyce, with the gospel, it orients me. And so I can't imagine starting the day any other way. It's just become such I'm saying my morning offering before I even get out of bed. It's right. Become a habit. And so having a regular practice also of confession helps too. Because if I don't schedule it, and I know it's that first Wednesday of every month, and if I don't have it on the schedule, I'm like, oh yeah, it hasn't been that long, and I'm doing fine. I mean, I can justify, I can procrastinate. And so for me, vigilance comes from practicing habits consistently that connect me to God.
It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we have some homework this week. So, Bishop, what is this week's task?
Well, Advent is a time for new beginnings. It's the beginning of our new liturgical year. It is also the beginning of a new cycle of readings from our lectionary, including the Book of the Gospels. This year, beginning with the first Sunday of Advent, we will read from the Gospel of Luke. So we might consider prayerfully reading the Gospel of Luke this week or through the season of Advent. There are only 28 chapters, but really it's a great way for us to kind of get ahead of the entire liturgical year and church year by reading the Gospel all the way through.
Yeah, that's great advice.
It's a great way to get to know Jesus. Just read one Gospel all the way through, and the Gospel we're doing is going to be Gospel of Luke.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and we'll see you both next week.
All right.
For more information on Christ in Our Neighborhood and resources to start your own group, visit the Christ in Our Neighborhood section at the Diocese of Phoenix website.